As a fourth-generation entrepreneur and business owner, I know the grit and grind that it takes to run a business. With Chingon SA, we're capturing stories from other local business owners and sharing them with you, our querido community of Sananto. From the culture, for the culture. Welcome back, everybody, once again to the Chingon SA Podcast. I'm Luis. I'm the host of the show. And just wanted to say thanks so much for tuning in. This is a MIG Studios and Serafina Digital production. We are so excited for another episode of the Chingon SA Podcast. This week, my producer is on the show with me. Dominic, what's up, dude? Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for agreeing to jump on with me and chop it up. We don't have an agenda for the show, which was kind of nice. We thought, we'd just chop it up and see what where we go. See where the conversation goes.
Yeah.
One of the things that always interests me about business ownership and entrepreneurship is what motivates someone to start their own business, right? And as a business owner yourself that is just now getting off the ground, you got a lot of experience in the industry, which is great. You've trained under some awesome mentors. Did I say that right? Mentors?
Yeah, mentors.
Yeah. Okay, mentors. You've trained under some awesome mentors. You've and you decided, hey, it's time. I want to go out on my own.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like, why? Why do you want to do that?
Dude, it was a weird dream of mine. Not weird, but it was a dream of mine for a while, right? So like, even when I first started, so I used to work at Aligned under Chris Cano. Even then, I was like, I gotta own my own business. Like I think if you ever asked like one of my friends, Tony, he's also in the industry, he's also doing his thing. I would tell him like, dude, business is the way that the world works. Like we were like 18, 19. I was like, dude, this is the way we got to do it. We got to figure out how to run a business, yada, yada, yada. And then, when I got into the industry, I was like, oh, I can make money off of this. Like shooting photos and doing film stuff. And at the time, businesses were just starting to get accustomed to having a videographer or some sort of content marketer on their team. So in San Antonio, at least, I know Chris was the one that pioneered all that, where he was bringing videographers into the building. He was the one doing closing videos and stuff like that. And that started a wave of a bunch of other people doing it.
Yeah.
So, I knew I wanted to own a business back then. I was always scared. And so after some recent events, I was like, you know what? I'm able to do everything a business owner is doing. I might as well just start. There's nothing I can lose. And if I lose anything at this point, it's not going to be much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, So, let's talk a little bit about your experience, right? Because there may be listeners on the show who don't know who you are, don't know what you do, but essentially you're a digital marketer, right? You're you also do a lot of videography, both on the real estate side. You do also like some people photography. I don't know what you really call that, but you take pictures, which is awesome. You do video content as well. So talk a little bit about what Serafina Digital is, what you guys do, and just kind of where you're going. What's your vibe?
Yeah. So the end goal, I guess, is to run an ad agency that not only does the video portion, the scripting, the writing, the video portion of the business or of the ad, but also does the back end work, chopping the ad up in 80 different ways and seeing what performs the best. One of my biggest inspirations is the Squatch, Dr. Squatch stuff. I love their content. I love their stuff. Anything that they put out, I'm like watching it because it's funny. It's
not
engaging.
Sponsored, by the way.
No, I wish. It's funny. It's engaging, and it keeps you, even though it's an ad, it keeps you wanting to watch. And so that's what I love about them. There's a bunch of other companies. Raindrop Media, I think, does the Dr. Squatch ads. You got the Harmon Brothers that do like True Classic. And then they do like the Potty Squatty, which is like I think it's like an outdoor product where you use the bathroom in nature. I don't know. I just know like the ads that they put out. They have the mattress ads where they kind of they put like a glass pane on some eggs and then they jump on it and then the eggs don't break or something. Crazy stuff. They do some really cool stuff. I love all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so a little bit about my experience. At first, I started around 2019, 2020.
How old are you then? I'm just curious.
19.
19.
Yeah.
So in 2019, you're 19 years old.
Yes. Well, I'm about to turn 19.
About to turn 19.
I was 18, about to turn 19.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, so I got picked up. So I was, before then, I was an electrician. I was doing that for like 6 months.
Wow.
I hated it.
Yeah.
And I got a story for that one, but I hated it. It was terrible. I was like, this isn't what I want to do. I was coming home sweaty and disgusting all day. At the end of the day, and I was like, this isn't what I want to do. I know what I want to do. I was just scared to jump. Then I jumped. I was about to go to school so the way the program was set up was I went to school. I got a 25-cent raise. I think I started off at 14, 15 an hour.
You're talking about electrician.
Electrician.
Yeah.
And so if I would have went to school, they would have given me a 25-cent raise as soon as I started. And every 3 months I got 25 cents. And so until I finished. And then
so that was appealing to you at the time.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of money in my mind. And so there was an incident that happened on the job site where I was just like, these guys are not happy. Specifically, this one trainer I had was drinking all the time. He was drunk all the time. And he smelled
on the job.
Yeah, on the job.
Oh
and then
that's a workers' comp claim waiting to happen.
And he did during our lunch break, I was sitting with him and he did a line of coke in front of me.
Oh my
like
God.
He poured it out on his hand and then he sniffed it.
Oh my God.
And he did this, and I don't know if he saw me see him because we were near his truck. We were grabbing tools from his truck.
Yeah.
And he just, and I was like, the fuck, and then he put like a little bottle back into his truck on his side. He had a really nice truck, and I was like, what the fuck? And so like something clicked, and I was like, these people are not happy. They're not like, they're doing it because it's a way to make a living. A lot of them were illegal. It's a way to make a living. A lot of them were illegal. They're just doing it because they have to. And so in my head, I'm like, do I want to live like this or do I want to move on? I decided, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to school for film. I was gonna go to Northwest Vista. I decided that day, and then after that, I got connected with. I went to church. I was going to church at Christian World Ministries, and they were having a conference, and they needed a camera person. And they were like, "Hey, we'll pay you $100 to be a camera person for all three of these days." And I was like, "Bet, let's do it." And then I ran into this gentleman by the name of Salo Rodriguez. And so Salo, I knew he was in the industry. I knew he did a lot of cool stuff, and I was like, I was scared to talk to him, terrified to talk to him. And thankfully, I had a mentor named Dave. He was like, he went out and he was like, hey, he's looking for work. Do you know anybody? Do you have anything for him? He's trainable. You'll like him. And Salo looked at me. We had a conversation later. He was like, I didn't know who the fuck you were, and I honestly didn't trust you. I was like, anyway. So he hired me. He got me involved with online mortgage. At the time, it was just like a week contract where they were going to pay me about $900 to sit there on a camera and just record a class that they were doing. Long story short, nothing ever came of that any of that footage.
Yeah.
But
so they paid you money and didn't use any of the footage.
No, we didn't use any of it.
Wow.
I stayed with them for like 3 or 4 years, but they didn't use any of it. Like nothing came of it. Anyway, but
were you that terrible?
Dude, I was sitting in the back of the room just on the camera, just holding it. That's all I was doing.
Yeah, it was a still camera. You weren't moving.
No, nothing. It was terrible. It was. I wouldn't do it now, but back then I was like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
And so the marketing manager, Charlie, which became a huge influence in my life, Charlie took a liking to me. I don't know why. I don't know what he saw, but he was like, he saw some of my photography work that was on my Instagram. Because I was already shooting photography, and I was already.
So are you doing this like photography stuff while you're an electrician? Like, where did that start? Like, where did that come from? Like, were you doing that in school, like in high school? Like,
yeah. So I was a huge theater nerd in high school.
Gotcha.
Huge theater nerd, and so I did the production side of things. I love the production. Yeah, I did the production stuff. I didn't really do the acting stuff, and I was forced to. Wasn't good at it, but I did the production stuff. And then one year, we call them officers, which basically you speak on behalf of the department or something. It was something weird. I didn't know, but I became a treasurer, and the treasurer's job was to document everything that was happening everything that was happening throughout the year, and then put a little slideshow together at the end of the year for our gala or whatever. And so at the time I was working at Bush's, and so I wanted to go out to buy a camera, other things too, but I wanted to go buy a camera, and I just started shooting with it. And so it became just like okay, I'm just gonna buy this camera. It's gonna be dope. We're gonna put a slideshow together. That's it. And then I started using the camera. And then there was this gentleman by the name of on YouTube by the name of Peter McKinnon that I fell in love with his content. And I think at the time he just started popping off on social media, and I was like, dude, this is dope. So he was doing productions with the camera, and he was taking photography, and he was very inspirational at the time. Like he was killing it. And I was like, I started watching him more, and I started kind of using some of the tips and tricks that he was using, and that kind of turned into more and more. Now I stopped. I think I sold my camera. I cried when I sold my camera. I cried in the parking lot of that pawn shop.
Yeah.
And I had to sell it because I was like, I needed money, and I was trying to become an electrician. I was like, I need to put those. That's not an actual dream. I need to figure out my shit. Anyway, so I already had some work already on my Instagram. Didn't really post that much. Charlie took a liking to it for whatever reason. He thought it was trainable, and from there he taught me a lot. From a line, he taught me so much. We did music videos together. He showed me everything about editing, taught me everything I know.
Yeah.
Of course, Salo was here and there. He was a part of the team, but he was, working on other things. Then after a line kind of went away, and I was also working on the team, so I learned from a graphic designer. I learned from other editors. There's a lot of other people that kind of poured into me during that time.
Sure.
They all looked at me like a little brother, essentially. I was the youngest. They were all like 24, 25. I was 19. So yeah, and then after the Aligned, I went to go but I went to go work with Salo, full-time with Salo. Salo focused it on podcasting. He had a lot of political clients that he would work with. I got the opportunity to travel the country, going to New York, Chicago, LA, just doing podcast style stuff, live streaming stuff.
Gotcha.
And so he focused primarily on the production and taking those productions, chopping up 80 different ways and creating content out of that, right? And with that came like the production sense, being able to, start a podcast, do a website, do a whole package for podcasting. I was working for him for a while, got to meet like Nico LaHood, got to meet the gentleman that created the Hot Cheetos.
Yeah, nice. I just saw that movie. Oh man, what was that movie called? Oh gosh, I forget the name of that movie, but yeah, that was a really cool story to hear.
Yeah.
And there's been some debate online, I think, about like whether or not the story is true the way that he tells it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's his story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he is where he is, maybe in part, maybe in whole to his idea of coming up with hot Cheeto, right? But like it's a global phenomenon now.
Mm-hmm.
Like who cares? Like the dude
he's making money. He made the company money. That's all that matters.
Yeah. I hear that.
But he I didn't even know who he was when I first met him, and then Salo kind of told me, he's like, that's the guy that created Hot Cheetos. I was like, that guy? And he did the whole speech about entrepreneurship and stuff.
Yeah.
And we recorded the whole thing. But I worked for Salo for like a year and a half, 2 years. And he poured into me in every different ways. And then when I departed for him, went back to the mortgage industry, started doing content for them again. Realized I was like, I don't want to have a 9-to-5. Joined another group that was kind of doing what I'm doing now, but like they were like, oh, we're gonna build all these team members, and you're gonna have multiple team members, and we're gonna teach you sales, and we're gonna do all this. Made all these promises. Turned out not some of that didn't really turn out to be true. The commissions weren't there, and I was just like, you know what, I can do this myself. Like I've been doing it for so long. People have a trust in me. I'm not well known yet. People have a trust in me. Let's just launch. So back in November 2024, got engaged. Left to Colorado, got engaged, and then came back and I was like, I quit that working with these guys. Wow. And then I was like, I'm gonna just launch.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. So you have 5 years of experience, like actually doing this production stuff, this digital content creation, or just content creation in general for 5 years. You kind of learn different things, but at that point, like, do you feel that you've learned enough about? Because you're also super young. You're 24 right
24.
now. do you feel like you've learned enough to like truly be your own business owner?
No.
Okay.
If I'm being completely honest,
Good.
no. Dude, there's so much to learn, and things in my industry are always changing.
Yeah.
Creators are finding new ways to edit videos. There's the algorithm's always changing. You got, people that are coming out with new products and new cameras, and cameras that are even getting better and smaller and stuff like that. So honestly, no, but like I'm watching, and in my industry, there's a lot of people that don't know what they're doing that are making way more money than me. And they're doing simple edits. They're not doing half the stuff that I do. And I'm like, I know I have all these skills that I already can monetize. And that was a fear for mine. I was like, I have all these skills. I don't want to monetize that. There's a gentleman I listen to. His name is Alex Ramosi. And he was talking about like, you got to kind of pay your dues first before you try to monetize all your skills.
Sure.
And if the longer you wait to monetize your skills, the bigger the outcome when you do decide to monetize it. I don't think I said that right, but he said something like that. And so I was like, for the longest time, I was like, do I even know enough? Am I really ready? Do I even have the equipment? But then I saw what astonished me was the company I just came from and the company I left right before I started my business. They didn't have the skill set that I had. They didn't have the equipment that I had. All they had was influence. And I was like, well, influence can get you so far, but like the skill would also get you so far, and you can build that influence with the skill. Yeah. So that was my thought process.
Yeah, but so let's talk about that a little more, right? Because I think there's a lot of folks, who are out there who are wanting to start their own business. And trust me when I say this, I'm not knocking the hustle, right? At some point, like I think I had to make that decision for myself too. Like, all right, am I going to do this, right? And I didn't have the skill set. I didn't have, I knew I had the skill set, but I knew that I was missing like the operational, knowledge to actually know how to run a business. Yeah. Right. And so I knew how to sell. That wasn't an issue. I'm a great salesman. But it's not even that. Like I think I'm a really great relationship builder. I think one of the biggest differences between me and many other salespeople out there is that I care more about the personal relationship with the individual than I do about getting the sale. So I'm not gonna meet you. And I think this is a misconception that a lot of people have about insurance agents in general, is I'm not going to meet you for the first time and be like, hey, I'm Luis, where do you have your insurance at? Yeah. Right? That's just not the type of salesperson I am. And I'm not going to be hounding you either every single time we have a conversation. Yeah. The only time that I ever talk about insurance is when somebody asks me a question about insurance. I can't tell you how many times I've been in conversation with people and they don't know that I own my own business. They don't know like what my job even is, like as an insurance agent. I think a lot of people have this misconception that insurance agents just sit back and collect money all day from people, and that's just not reality. No. Right? And so anyway, I know that I'm a great relationship builder. I know that I have influence, but I don't really know how to run a business. Yeah. Right. And so that was always a scary thing for me. And I think you kind of alluded to that in what you were saying. So at what point do you decide, like when do you feel like you have enough information to make the jump and be your own boss, be your own business owner?
I think I still struggle with it now because I don't think I know enough now. Yeah. Like I come to you with a lot of questions like, hey, how do I pay myself? And you were just like, and you were like, what? And I was like, how does that work? Like, is there like a system in process that I need to, is there documents I need to sign? And you're like, dude, just transfer the money into your bank account. I was like, oh.
Well, it's a little more complicated than that.
But you explained it to me, but I was still like, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. And then, there's a lot of there's a lot of other things. I have a business mentor, John Coker, which is also someone that has poured in tremendously in my life.
You name drop a lot of people in this show.
I owe a lot
None
of people.
None of them are sponsors, by the way.
But I owe to me. I'm like, I owe a lot of people my success. There's a lot of people that influenced me, or like
absolutely
that at one point in my life that just poured into me that I needed that at that time.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think I'm self-made. I will never say I'm self-made. But there's also a lot of people I need to pay homage to, in my opinion. Right. And then I like, even one time I paid homage to John, and he was like, dude, you don't have to do that. I was like, yeah, it means a lot to me that you poured into me when I needed it.
Sure.
Right. Anyway, so he's like, you need to build systems. And I'm like banging my head on the floor. I'm like, what do you mean by systems? What systems in the creative field? He was like, no, there's a way that you build systems in the creative field. They can still be creative, but you still have systems in place to make sure that everything that you do great can also be done when you train other people to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that still bothers me. I'm still trying to figure that out. But overall, the deliverables are the same. The content is the same. The way we train people on camera is the same. And right now, like, I just hired my first guy. He's learning all that stuff from me. I'm telling him, like, we had a phone call the other day where we were talking to a client. I'm like, hey, listen to the questions I'm asking. He sends me a screenshot of all the notes he's taken. He's like, this is what you said. This is how the client responded. This is what you said. And I was like, okay, cool. You're teachable. Then that's all I need. Right. And so
that is super hard to find, man.
Oh, dude, he is super teachable.
Finding folks that are, that are coachable, that want to learn, and that have the humbleness to say, I don't know that and I want to learn it. And somebody who's hungry too, to actually like really learn that information is super difficult to find, man. So don't let them go.
Nah, I'm blessed. I love that guy. But yeah, I still don't know a lot. Like I spent this whole past weekend. This is what, April 8th? 8th? Yeah. This is April 8th. And I spent this whole past weekend doing courses. Like we did a bunch of spring cleaning. I finished up a couple edits that I had to do. And then I was like, okay, I have free time. Let me do some courses. Let me figure out, more of this business stuff. Let me figure out maybe things I didn't know before. And so then I took those courses and I transferred all my login information. I sent it to my editor. I'm like, hey, look at all this stuff. This is where I learned this past weekend. Whenever you get a chance, it's 2 hours. Take a look at it.
Yeah.
And he was like, bet. And so,
that's great. Yeah.
And it's because anything I'm lacking in, if he can improve me, I'd rather do that. Right.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I really enjoy about, the funny thing, the ironic thing is that I was never really good in school. But I love learning, dude. Like as an adult, like I really love learning from other people, just like you're talking about. My uncle was a huge, kind of inspiration into me becoming an insurance agent. And one thing he would always tell me was, you're never going to know what it's like until you're sitting on this side of the desk. And what he meant by that was, you might know a lot of things, and of course I thought that I did, right? I knew that I didn't know it all, but I felt like I knew a lot, right? And there's just always going to be one other thing that comes your way that you're not going to know how to deal with as a business owner. And maybe it's staff, maybe it's, how to handle a customer, it's maybe how to handle money, building out systems and processes. That's one thing that I'm really good at, is building out systems and processes. And I help other business owners do that. And a lot of times for free, it's just like, do this and that kind of thing. Right. And so, I'm a perpetual student. I love to learn. And I think as a business owner, that's super important. You cannot stop learning, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be about your craft. It can just be about operations in general. So keep that mindset, right? Is the point that I'm trying to make with what I'm saying. Be humble enough to know when you're when you don't know something. Yeah. But also never lose that hunger, never lose that drive. you know, to want to keep doing better for yourself, for your family. You know, and if there's another piece of advice that I could give someone like you who's just coming up and starting their own thing is to just remember where you came from
Mm-hmm.
and remember to pay it forward.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Hopefully that was helpful.
Oh yeah, that was very helpful. My grandfather used to say that the only thing in life that's free is advice. He's like, and you can use it whether you want to use it or not. And he would tell me all the time, you can use what I say, but it's the only thing I'm going to give you that's free.
Mm.
And so I was like, all right.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know where else to go with this.
Do you have any questions that I could answer for you?
We've had so many conversations offline where I'm like, I feel like I know a lot.
What was one piece of advice that I've given you, or that really anyone has given you that has just been like kind of like eye-opening, or like, oh man, I need to write that down, or I need to, you know, kind of focus on that?
I think definitely the paying yourself. That was really eye-opening. And then I can't even think on the spot. I can't think about it right now, but there are stuff that I meditate on. Yeah, I don't really have anything right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, this has been fun, dude. Thanks for jumping on the show with me, and you know, chopping it up. Hopefully some folks took something away from this.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, if they want to reach out to you and kind of learn about how to better their social media presence, how to better their content stuff, where do they find you? How do they contact you? Give them all your contact details.
Yeah, so my contact information is my company is called Serafina Digital. It's my personal Instagram is rrez.np4. Yeah, and you can reach me pretty much by email. I don't want to give my phone number out, but email domgie1027@gmail.com.
We got to work on that, man. Your handles are just like all over the place, bro.
I've been told I need to change my handles. One of my clients is like, dude, I don't know who you are when I look at your stuff. For sure. And I'm like,
that is 100% fact.
Yeah, so I got to figure that out. But yeah, my website's still in development. I actually have a web designer that's working on it right now, and so we're slowly growing. So yeah, you can find me all those different places. Facebook, Dominic Gutierrez. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, thanks so much for tuning in, guys, to another episode of Chingon SA. We'll be back next week with another great episode for you. Can't wait to share. We've got some great guests lined up. I hope you'll like us, follow us, subscribe, and also share our episodes on your socials to get it out to your network. Luis with ChingonSA-Podcast signing off. See you guys next week.